Hi there, welcome to Prime Sports with me, Razak Musbao. Now, we started with basketball, where the Basketball Africa League and NSC, the world-renowned Cognac Brown, hosted the second basketball lifestyle entertainment event, Ball in Accra at the Bukom Boxing Arena, which drew hundreds of basketball enthusiasts with quite a number of performances from Ghanaian music stars also taking place. My colleague Kwame Benaya was at the event and has a wrap of all that happened in this report.
Event dubbed Ball in Accra celebrated basketball, lifestyle and entertainment ahead of the 2025 season tip-off. Two studded teams competed, Team DJ Tunes and Team Small God. Team Small God featured basketball star Angel McCourtry alongside Ghanaian musicians Spice Lee, Joy B and RJZ, while Team DJ Tunes had Angolan stars Carlos Morris and John Pedro featuring. After a thrilling night of basketball action, Team Small God emerged victorious with a 65-60 win over Team DJ Tunes. BAL President Amadou Gallo expressed his excitement about the event.
Amazing display of energy, from the crowd. Obviously, incredible performance by all the players on the court. The BAL players, we have Carlos Moraes, John Pedro from Petro Atletico de Luanda, our 2024 BAL champion. We had Arthur Majok, who won the BAL championship in 2022 with US Monastir, Maktar Gueye on the Senegal national team, Angel McCourtry, who is a WNBA legend. And when really, all these players, they are entertainers, DJ Tunes, and some of the names I could remember, I was very impressed, and really, the crowd, obviously, that turned up in big numbers. So this was a special afternoon.
Gallo also hinted at plans to make Accra a consistent host for BAL events.
Well, further continue to engage with our fans, just to show that there is passion for the game of basketball, for the lifestyle brand we're building with the Basketball Africa League, and having these entertainers from different spectrum come together on the basketball court. Ghana and Accra is a major city for us. In the future, we want to have more programming here to see Ghana more present in the Basketball Africa League. I was pleased to see this year there was a team that participated in the Road to BAL qualifiers. So step by step, and also the work that Paps Manso, our BAL ambassador, is doing here. He's launched Seed Academy Ghana, seeing those kids in the stands. Yao Sheki, who we've worked with for many, many years, all the work he's done at grassroots level. And I know that there is a renewed commitment with the Ghana Basketball Federation, with FIBA Africa, to really focus on, lifting up the game here on the continent.
The 2025 BAL season is scheduled to kick off on April 5 in Morocco, with the finals set for June in South Africa.
Turn attention to football now, and the Ghana Football Association has appointed former Ghana international Frimpong Manso as the new head coach of the under-17 national team. He's been charged to help restore Ghana to a lofty perch in youth football. We've got more for you in this report.
The investment I put in myself.
About 7 months ago, Ghana's U17 coach Laryea Kingston made a decision nobody expected.
7 months, I've given my all. I've done my part as a technical person, as a coach. I've done my part for that. And after we came back from Russia, that's when I decided either we win, we qualify, I'm moving on. So in this case, I'm resigning. After this tournament, I'm resigning as under-17 coach. I've made that decision already before this tournament starts. The explanation will come out later.
He stepped down from the role after Ghana's defeat to Burkina Faso in the semi-finals of the WAFU Zone B tournament. The defeat meant the nation would not participate in the 2025 Youth Africa Cup of Nations to be hosted by Morocco in March, and as a result, there would be no show at the next World Cup. Ghana must now begin to prepare for the 2026 edition, and the FA sees former Black Stars player Frimpong Manso as the man primed for the job. Manso holds a CAF License A coaching certificate and has currently guided Bibiani Gold Stars to the second position on the Ghana Premier League table. The 65-year-old had previously worked as an assistant coach at the U17 level before reprising the role with the U23 side. Meanwhile, Vision FC coach Nana Kweku Ajiman and former captain of Hearts of Oak Jacob Nete have been retained as assistant coaches of the team. The technical team is expected to begin scouting for talents for Project 2026 U17 World Cup.
Well, we're wishing Frimpong Manso the very best in that encounter. There will be an FA Cup matches across the various centres this weekend, with Kumasi Asante Kotoko taking on Accelerate at the Babayara Sports Stadium. So, but let's turn attention now to Germany and connect with Chris Harrington with the latest from the Bundesliga and some other happenings in Europe. And well, Chris, good to have you once again. But when earlier in the week you mentioned some transfers along with rumors earlier in the month, we are understanding that Dortmund striker Daniel Malin is an Aston Villa target. What more can you tell us about that very transfer rumor?
Shocking. Dortmund have a treasure chest full of young, thriving talent, and the reports are Aston Villa have made an improved bid plus add-ons for Daniel Malin. You know, they really want, his services. Dortmund are willing to negotiate, but they want a certain amount. They have a number in mind that they want, and they want a certain amount up front. Football is a business. When I read into these negotiation tactics and so forth, it doesn't seem like, the future of the footballers is the most important thing. It comes down to dollars and cents, really, or euros and cents in this matter. He's 25 years old. He's eager to go back to the Premier League. He's looking to give some payback to Arsenal, a club that turned their back on him and told him he was too fat to play. So anytime a player has something personal, wanting to give back, it kind of fuels the fire and encourages movement faster. In terms of Malin's production this season, 5 goals. He's scored, in their most recent match. So he's good. I mean, Daniel Malin's good. I think Dortmund have to figure out rotation, and they have to be consistent, but they have the talent. That's always, been the case. They've always had the talent. They're just underachieving, So I wish it all the best. I'm not as shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if this deal gets done because, Dortmund do have some players that, could stand to produce more. Look at the number of offensive talent they have that can score goals, and I'm sure anyone would agree. So it's not so shocking. Dortmund are the first club teams typically come to when you're talking about the bigger talents in the Bundesliga.
Chris, great. But looking ahead to the Bundesliga, you're talking about Dortmund, who are currently 6th in the standings. They will be hosting Bayer Leverkusen, who are also 2nd in the standings and looking to close the gap on Bayern Munich. It's a big game coming up this weekend. What should we expect from such a big game? Xabi Alonso trying to close the gap on Bayern Munich.
Yeah, Dortmund, perennial, runners-up in the Bundesliga. They're definitely off of what they've been historically. Historically, it was a 2-horse race between Bayern and Dortmund. That's what it's been for nearly a decade, quite some time. Of course, you have other teams, popping in there, finishing second here and there. But in terms of consistency, it's always been Dortmund. And they've been seeking consistency this season under Nuri Sahin. They have, they've had a roller coaster season. Their numbers don't, deny that. Of course, they are in multiple competitions, namely the Champions League, trying to do well in that. I think being at home does help. They won a game on the road after losing and having a horrible record on the road their last time out at Wolfsburg. I do think that speaks volumes as well, but we can't forget that was 2024. Now it's 2025. I mean, Leverkusen, I think, will have a boost. Victor Boniface, the last reports where he was back at training, I wouldn't be shocked if he, potentially makes an appearance, maybe comes off the bench in this particular match. Leverkusen look really good. Xabi Alonso has found the way to communicate to his team to kind of speed things up when they need to speed things up. If they continue this momentum, they will be putting the pressure on Bayern Munich without question. Bayern, have a lot of issues themselves, whether it's injuries and other things like this. How healthy are their star players is a question as well. So I think there's a lot to stand for in this particular matchup. Number one, Dortmund's back at home, where they have a very impressive stance and a record. And then Leverkusen, they have to win and have to earn points in difficult territory such as Dortmund. So Xabi Alonso and company realize that. Dortmund want to be consistent and want to show the league that they can perform against, the last season's champion. So there should be a lot of fireworks. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, talking about looking forward to it, it's already happening. And we understand that Leverkusen are leading by 3-1. So really interesting development there, just like you mentioned about Leverkusen's chances of getting points against Dortmund. And they look like they can just go ahead and wrap up the 3 points with a 3-1 lead at the moment. But Chris, just before I let you go, though, what else did hit your radar in the course of the week?
Yeah, just about Xabi Alonso. He's under contract until 2026, but the reality is, a lot of major clubs around Europe are eager to secure his services. No different than it was last summer. You have a few clubs. Real Madrid is one club. He's well acquainted with the president of that club. That's one thing. And then who else is going to replace Carlo Ancelotti? I mean, those are quite big boots to fill. And Xabi Alonso seems to be the perfect candidate for a lot of major roles that could potentially come up vacant in the near future. And then that does have me concerned about Leverkusen. Leverkusen could potentially build themselves up to something bigger, than Bayern Munich's little brother or the second best club in the Bundesliga or whatever they can, whatever tag they can hold on to for quite some time. It's a bit disappointing, but along with Real Madrid, of course, Manchester City has shown interest in Alonso as well. And even Liverpool, you have to consider Liverpool as well in terms of a long-term replacement. And I do believe, just what I mentioned earlier in the week in terms of Bayern's involvement, specifically Uli Hoeneß, trying to involve himself in this Florian Wirtz movement, trying to encourage, you should stay at Leverkusen. And I think he has in the back of his mind, because Florian Wirtz must be a piece that Bayern would like to have in their future as well. So, and maybe that would mean that Xabi Alonso joins Florian Wirtz at Bayern Munich. Club coaches, when you're at that caliber of Xabi Alonso, it's common that you're going to be attracted, lured away at bigger clubs, bigger opportunities, and you would accept the challenge. I'd like to see Leverkusen do more than just win their double under Xabi Alonso. I'd like to see them win a lot more. So hopefully he does consider and stays beyond his contract as it stands right now. And we can see that materialize in the future. But, the rumors are the rumors. I'm sure, when the dust settles, I'll be here to give you the facts.
Yeah, well, Chris, much appreciated. Really, really grateful for your time there, Chris. Join us all the way from Berlin, Germany, with that latest in Germany. And, from Germany, let's turn attention to England now, because there's a big game coming up this weekend. As Manchester United will visit the Emirates this Sunday for a highly anticipated FA Cup clash, with Arsenal looking to avenge their 2-0 defeat earlier this season. United are coming off a 2-2 draw against Liverpool, while Arsenal themselves, second in the Premier League, are recovering from a 2-0 loss to Newcastle in the Carabao Cup semi-final. Now, both managers shared their thoughts ahead of the match. We heard from them, and just after that, we'll go to Ivory Coast and connect with my good friend John Boafo for his thoughts on this big game coming up this weekend. First of all, let's hear from Mikel Arteta and then Ruben Amorim. Well, it's an FA Cup game, but it's a big one. Arsenal versus Manchester United always draw some eyeballs there. But let me speak to my good friend, John Boafo. He's a sports analyst. He's based in Ivory Coast at the moment. He joins me via Zoom. John, good to have you. Good to see you. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you, John.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well, and Happy New Year to everyone who's watching tonight.
Yeah, amazing. We have a big game on Sunday. It's Arsenal versus Manchester United. Man United coming from the back of a 2-2 draw against Liverpool, and then Arsenal losing to Newcastle. It looks like United are possibly the team that are coming, going into this game with a better performance, but anything can happen.
Yeah, it's like you said, anything can happen. I think Mikel Arteta said it well when he said that this is a special game. It's going to be the 243rd matchup between this Arsenal team and then Manchester United team. Arsenal want to bounce back after their recent defeat. And Manchester United, if they play like they played against Liverpool, they have their chances as well. Although they lost against Arsenal in December 2-0, they'll think to themselves that they played really well against one of the best teams in form in Liverpool when they almost won it, but it ended up being a 2-2 draw. And at the end, they'll come into this game with so much confidence, thinking that maybe this is an FA Cup game, that they have their best chances to try to push and maybe even go all the way and get some silverware this year.
And talking about getting the silverware, look at Mikel Arteta. His major silverware has been this FA Cup trophy, which he won against Chelsea. He's got a few other Community Shield to his credit. Ruben Amorim is having a very difficult start to life at Man United. Looking at where they stand, Champions League football looks quite difficult, but he will appreciate a trophy to end the season. Which of the two managers do you think will be under pressure to, at the very least, get the FA Cup trophy, if they are unable to win anything at all?
I think that Mikel Arteta would be the one who will be more under pressure than Amorim. I think that Manchester United have had a lot of coaches recently, and it seems like the fans and the new directors, the new Ineos team, will give more time to Amorim to be able to shape this squad. You can see that he's trying different things, but it clearly seems like the players that are there currently aren't the right kind of players to be able to play in his kind of system. Since starting, Mikel Arteta has only won, like you mentioned before, one cup, and it seems like the Gunners fans are also becoming quite unsettled. They want him to be able to win more silverware. Maybe even this year, they want him to push hard to be able to win the league. But, who knows? It's a cup game. It's a one-time game. Who knows how it's going to end up tomorrow.
Interesting. And just away from the FA Cup, though, let me take you to Saudi Arabia, although it's a Spanish Super Cup game between Real Madrid and Barcelona, first Clasico of the season. Where are you putting your money on? First Clasico of the year, Barcelona versus Real Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup final on Sunday too.
Well, Musbao, I'm not a betting man, but I would think that Barcelona would probably have an edge over Real Madrid.
Oh, really?
It seems that Barcelona...
You're tipping Barcelona to go ahead and beat Real Madrid?
I would, just because in the matchup that they had at the end of last year, Barcelona was really head over heels on top of Madrid. So it would seem that going into this match, they're thinking to themselves, okay, if we do what we know how to do, we should be able to beat this team. This Barcelona team is quite unsettled with the stories of, David Olmo and the other players as well, not being able to be registered. But I think this will probably bring them together, and they'll probably end up winning this match on Sunday.
But Real Madrid haven't had a good result against Barcelona in recent games. The last time they played at the Bernabeu, we saw what happened there. It was a real thrashing, and what a better way to avenge that thrashing than when the trophy is at hand. You look at Real Madrid's performance against Mallorca. It was quite frustrating. Second half before they managed to get the 3 goals. Even look at Barcelona game against Athletic Club, also quite a difficult one. And to some extent, I agree with you. Look at the situation that Hans Flick finds himself in. Winning the first trophy of the year 2025 would do him a lot of good. But You don't think this crop of players that Madrid have got, Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., coming on the back of having won the FIFA best and having in the back of their mind that the last time they faced these boys, they humiliated them. They might go there on Sunday with vengeance at the back of their mind.
Yeah, I think they will go into this match with vengeance on top of their mind. But it also is the case that Manchester, sorry, I said Manchester, I'm
Barcelona.
stuck there. But Real Madrid,
yeah.
Takes some time to gel. This is a team that front three that you just mentioned. This is their first season for them to play together. So they still need time to gel. Whereas this Barcelona side has been together for a couple of seasons. Yes, the coach is a new coach, but they have more. They have a better understanding of how to play for each other. So I think that if this match were maybe a bit later on in the season, then maybe I would tip Real Madrid. But as it stands, I think that Barcelona will go back home on the flight from Saudi Arabia back to Barcelona with the trophy in hand.
Interesting. And just finally, though, our time is pretty much up. Victor Osimhen is someone whose destination is still in doubt, whether he's going to leave Galatasaray or not. But we have heard there's a strong links, to, Manchester United and also Chelsea. If you were his manager, will you advise him to leave Galatasaray? And if he is going to leave Galatasaray, where should he end up? Victor Osimhen.
As a fan of PSG, I would say PSG.
Okay.
I heard a lot of rumors during the summer that he was potentially going to go to PSG. I would advise him either to stay at Galatasaray because it's harder to gel with the team when you do a transfer in January. So probably look at his options and then make a decision in the summer. And if he were to end up in the EPL, I would say he would probably be best at Chelsea than at Manchester United. Manchester United seems to still be unsettled, and over the summer, I think that Amorim would probably go back to Sporting, maybe get a Gyökeres or a similar player that understands how he wants to play. So if I were him, probably Chelsea, but PSG is probably the best option.
PSG possibly the best option. Interesting there. I wanted to leave you, but Graham Potter will be the man managing Mohamed Kudus for the remainder of the season. Are you excited about that?
Yeah, I'm excited about that because despite what happened at Chelsea, Graham Potter really played some very good, fantastic forward football. So it'll probably be a good opportunity for Kudus to score more goals, get more assists, and get him in form, which can only be beneficial for this Black Stars team.
Interesting. John, thank you very much. And hopefully we'll catch up again in the course of the month. So that's John Bradford joining us all the way from Ivory Coast, sharing his thoughts on, the latest happenings in Europe there. We'll be hearing more from him in the course of the year if you stick and stay with Prime Sports here on the Joy News channel. That's all we have for you tonight. We're going to be back on Joy Prime tomorrow morning for Prime Sports Extra, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Do join us, and we'll have a lot more to share with you there. My name is Razak Musbao. Thank you very much for your company throughout the week.